who knows how long it's going to take for this video to actually post, but I'm recording this on Free RPG Day. And I just wanted to show you the things that I picked up at my local game stores. I got 2 of them today. Free RPG Day, for those who don't know, is still growing, so it's not as widespread as, say, Free Comic Book Day. But it is a program every year. Various companies release free supplements that they send to game shops. Now, the game shop has to pay for these bundles, and you go in and you can get a free item, and the idea is to get you to go to your local game shop and spend money, because local game shops need your business. So I try to shop at my local game stores, but I'm not as good as I should be, and there's a couple of reasons, and I'll mention those as I go through here. But on the positive side, my wife and I got up early this morning, entirely too early, and we got on the train, and it took a really long time, but we did get to the best game store, I think, in the Washington, D.C. area, and that is Labyrinth on Capitol Hill, or Eastern Market, near Capitol Hill. Labyrinth is great. They carry a lot of puzzles. They carry a lot of board games. They are what I want from a game store, in that they are friendly, knowledgeable. They have plenty of staff. The person who runs it is fantastic. They're very active in the community. They're very positive. They are very welcoming. And they've just been, I think, a fantastic game store. But for me, they're just so darned far away. And that's just the way it is. But we got there. My wife and I went in, and they had a thing. So for showing up, you could get a free item. If you made a purchase, you could get a second pull from the free stuff. And if you participated in the games that were going on during the day, you could get another free item. Now, we did not stay for various reasons. We're dog sitting right now and didn't want to leave the dog for that long, and other reasons. But we were able to pick a couple of things up. So I'll show you what I got there from Free RPG Day. I started out with the Triwizard Conundrum. Now, this is a 5e, Dungeons & Dragons 5e supplement. I don't do Dungeons & Dragons, as anybody who's watched these videos knows. I don't care for the game. However, I really like Goodman Games' work. I like the stuff that they put out, and I have found that D&D supplements can often be great sources to raid for ideas for Dungeon Crawl Classics, which is a game that I really enjoyed, which is very strange that I enjoy it as much as I do, considering its similarities to Dungeons & Dragons, but it's somehow the devil's in the details. One I find fun, one I find excruciating, and so I will no doubt read through this, pull out some info, and use this possibly as a fill-in scenario for a Dungeon Crawl Classics game. I don't know. I'll give this a read. I also grabbed, speaking of Goodman Games and Dungeon Crawl Classics, this here, Danger in the Air. This is the 0 level funnel scenario for this year. I know nothing about it. I didn't look at the preview when Goodman Games put it up on their website. It's got some ads for some of the other stuff. Oh, Empire of the East. They're doing apparently like a second edition of it, which is a little frustrating, because I picked up the first edition, and the second edition apparently is going to have some extra stuff, and I'm not buying another edition. That's just not happening. But on the good side, they are finally doing an adventure for Empire of the East, because that was one of my real frustrations when this book came out. It came out, and that was it. Just this one single hardcover that has like 2 adventures, I think, in the book. And I was kind of I was pretty disappointed, especially considering how much had come out for Lankmar around the same time, or a little earlier, and how much is even still coming out for Lankmar. But anyway, finally, Empire of the East is going to get at least an adventure. Hopefully it'll get more than one. Mutant Crawl Classics is fun. Lankmar, I don't have the latest one yet, but I will. Anyway, DCC, supplement for this year. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a huge Cyberpunk fan. Last year at Free RPG Day, I actually bought Cyberpunk Red, the hardcover book. I have every intention of running Cyberpunk, and I have had every intention of running Cyberpunk for many, many years. I had a whole 2020 scenario that I was going to run, and then 2020 happened, and it was so much worse than Cyberpunk. So I love the idea of an easy mode for Cyberpunk Red, because there's definitely some stuff that I know me, and I know rules. I know it's going to take me a little bit of getting used to. And I just saw on RPG Imaginings, I saw a flip through, which included, seeing that there was a lot of good stuff in here, including like, a lot of pre-gens, and I think there was maps. I think I just saw, maps and stuff. So great. Very excited to check this out. And, one of these days I'll run what I think is a darned cool Cyberpunk 2020 scenario. And I could update it to red, maybe, I don't know. I think it's a cool scenario, and I really want to run it, but I just haven't done it because that's who I am. So another cool thing about Labyrinth is they're very supportive of the local creator community. They have there's a thriving gaming community in the DC area, which I am not a part of, and I feel like I need to work my way into. But there are a lot of people who make games in the area, and so they had extra stuff on the free RPG table today, stuff that you wouldn't have seen at other stores because they like local connections. And so I got this, Where the Wheat Grows Tall, and I'll show you in here. If I remember correctly, Camilla Greer used to work at Labyrinth, and I believe that's the case. So I don't know really what this is. It looks to me, I believe this is a system agnostic adventure with a lot of like either random charts or just info, everything done in bullet points and stuff. So it's kind of got that zine OSR kind of vibe to it, but without mechanics. So, whatever system you want to plug it into, I wouldn't be surprised if this might even work for some of the solo RPGs. I really like the kind of like pseudo-medieval, the sort of pseudo-medieval art in it, I think is very cool. So I'm excited about checking this one out. And this is special. You're not going to find this at every free RPG day, which I think is really cool. While I was there, because you should always support your local game store, that is the point. And obviously, I know that not everyone is always financially able to, but I think if you can, do what you can for your local business. So my wife and I each picked up something. She picked up this, which we have been talking about trying out for quite some time, Hometown Holiday by, I'll mispronounce the name, Nick Torville, perhaps, maybe. And this is basically kind of like a, Hallmark, or now Netflix also, and Lifetime, I think, too, Hallmark Christmas special role-playing game. And just looking through, it's a very slender volume. It looks very rules light. In a way, it reminds me a little bit of Matrons of Mystery, what that does for cozy old British lady mysteries. This sort of does for the Hallmark holiday specials. It looks very fun. It looks kind of, goofy, but fun. And I think if you enjoy the ridiculousness of those films, which I hate to admit I kind of do, they are just so silly that I think you could enjoy this game. I also like that it does, because, holidays are for everybody, and there is actually using a dreidel in here instead of dice if you want. It doesn't go further than that with others, but still, very cool. I'm very interested in checking this out. Hopefully later on this year, as we get toward the holidays, we'll be able to put a game of that together. And then I also grabbed, and this hurt the old wallet, but there it is. Something I've been hearing a lot of very positive feedback and reviews on, the 1,000-year-old vampire. This is, from what I understand, a solo game. I think there's some level of journaling in it, although I don't think that's the focal point, but I could be wrong. And just, it's very intriguing. The things that I have heard about this, the book itself is like a work of art. The interior design is gorgeous. The interior itself has lots of really cool and interesting stuff. I love the little details. Like there's, all these little details. There's even on the spine, there's even like a faux tear on the spine. All this just, I don't know. I love this kind of thing, this sort of artifact that you hold in your hand that is also part of the game. I love that. So I'm going to try this out, at some point coming up. I'm not very good with doing solo RPGs because I have a hard time focusing and keeping myself on task, but we'll see. Maybe this one will do it. So that's what I picked up when I was at Labyrinth. I was talking about game stores, and I'm not going to name drop the store because, it's not a bad store. It just can be a little frustrating that the store that's actually closest to me, I've had sort of problems with over the years because they just carry Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder. And I mean, like, that's it. They carry other games, but no other RPGs. And I've tried to order product from them because they're like a 15-minute bus ride from my house. So I figure, that's great. I'll order stuff. And it's just never come in. Now, it does look like there's some new people there. They seem a little bit more proactive. And apparently, even while I was there, somebody had picked up a Call of Cthulhu Keeper's Guide that had been ordered. So that gives me hope that maybe, particularly with the pandemic having gone through, maybe they learned some lessons about actually ordering product and actually getting product in. So I'll give them another try. But I went there just in case to check out, and I think maybe the benefit of the fact that it seems to cater only to Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder, by the time I got there, many hours after the store was open, they still had plenty of stuff, and they had no real rules on how much to pick up. There was a be reasonable kind of thing, and I'm like, okay, I'm a reasonable guy. So while I was there, I picked up Homeworld Revelations. Now, I don't know anything about this at all, except that it is from Modiphius, and it's science fiction. I love science fiction. That is really my genre. I prefer sci-fi to any other genre, even though I end up running Call of Cthulhu probably more often than anything else, and running horror more often than anything else. Look at this. It actually comes with separate pre-gen characters in there. That's really cool. I don't want to, I'm not being negative. The art is very nice. The design is clean. It doesn't like wow me with this presentation, but it's a free RPG day. I will say it's pretty hefty. There's a lot here. I don't know, let's see. Yeah, it says a quick start. So I don't know if there's a scenario in here or not. Yes, there is. Quick start adventure. Great. So, I know nothing about this game. I don't know if it's based on a product. I believe there was a video game called Homeworld. That might be part of it. I really have no idea. But again, I'm a sci-fi junkie. I'll check out anything at all for that. Because there was really no limit. There were some other things that mildly intrigued me, but nothing that like jumped out at me. And I didn't want to be super greedy. So I grabbed that, and I grabbed Epic Encounters. This is another 5e thing, which again, I don't care about 5e, but I could possibly lift this. It's even got maps if I was so inclined, although that looks like a difficult to use map, but whatever. Still kind of cool designs. I can lift this and maybe plop it into DCC. And if not, pass it on to somebody who's going to use it. And while I was there, because again, I do believe strongly in supporting the local game store, I also picked up the Dune board game, which finally got reprinted. Was it 2020 maybe? It was, well, this says 2022. I didn't think it was that recent. No, I don't think it was that recent. I think this was a year or two ago. This might just be another print run. Anyway, I had played this game 25, almost 30 years ago, and really liked it. But at the time I played it, it was out of print. And, you know, what are you going to do? I mean, you know, it was the 90s. There wasn't even really an internet. And then, honestly, by the time I had enough money coming in that I could look at buying things online, you know, I'm not paying collector prices. I'm just not that kind of person. I don't have that much money anyway. But also, I'm not going to pay collector prices for stuff. That's, no. So they finally reprinted it. I'm very excited about checking it out. My memory of it is that it was very good, but also that it was very complicated. So I'm definitely hoping that my wife or one of our friends will read the rules and we can work it out, because I am not great with reading rule books. They bore me and I lose interest very quickly. But Dune, you know, probably my favorite novel. This game, I don't know that this was one of my favorite games, but this was a game that I really enjoyed, and I'm interested in checking that out. So that was my haul for Free RPG Day. If you get a chance to go to one of these, I recommend doing so. If your local game store runs events, they're usually fun. I know that Labyrinth, again, if you're in the DC area, go to Labyrinth. They're fantastic. But I believe the person who wrote this was going in to do a demo today. They had some other demos going on. Again, I was not able to stay. I did in 2019 when I was really starting to get back into the hobby. I stayed all day, actually, at Labyrinth on their Free RPG Day event. And that was where I tried out Dungeon Crawl Classics for the first time. And I had so much fun, so surprisingly. So anyhow, if you get a chance to participate, I always recommend that you do. So that's what I've got today, and take care.